Hey, it's your girl, Carmel Jean-Francois, owner and founder and CEO of C Fit Coaching. Welcome back to my channel. Today, I have another guest for you. I'm so excited that these people are flocking to my page. What could it be? It's not me. I'm out there kind of saying, hey, come to my channel. Only because I see beauty in other people and I see beauty in other people and what they're doing. And so this beautiful woman that I want to introduce you for is actually no stranger to the show. She's been on here before, and she's really graced our channel here. And today she's back with us again, and I have some more questions for her. She has more insight for you. Thank you for being here, and thank you for listening. And I would like to introduce you to Arlette. Girl, I just mixed the two of your names together. It's Arlette Lanae, aka Beautiful Promise. She is a professional singer and a holistic healer. So everybody, please give a warm welcome to my beautiful, beautiful guest.
Hi, Carmel.
Hey,
Hi.
Arlette, how are
Oh,
you?
I am doing well. Thank you for having me.
Oh, it's my pleasure. I love your puffs. It's
Oh,
so pretty.
thank you.
You're welcome. You're welcome. So, I just introduced you as a professional singer and a holistic healer, but I'm sure people have some questions. They want to know exactly who you are. Would you mind introducing yourself to the folks that are listening?
Oh, not at all. Thank you. I am Arlette Lanae, aka Beautiful Promise. I am a professional singer. I'm a holistic health coach, a whole food, plant-based nutritionist, and a sound healer. And so I know that I said a mouthful, but that is who I am. I am the owner of the Sound Chamber at No Pressure Release the Weight, which is my signature program where I help people specifically who are singers, speakers, musicians, dancers, as well as just regular people release excess weight. And that weight is not only physical, but it is mental and emotional and even spiritual weight. And so the healing modalities that I use to do that is the adaptation of a whole food plant based lifestyle, meditation, breath work, and sound therapy.
Wow, wow, wow. That's beautiful. So you work with people who use their voice as a profession.
Absolutely. Yes. And that came basically from my own personal journey,
Mhm.
from using my voice as a singer as well as a speaker. I have let me see, since I would say it's been singing publicly since 11. So I stepped on my first stage at 11, and I understand the people who step on the stage,
Mhm.
whether they are singers or speakers, whether they're playing an instrument. I've stepped on the stage also as a dancer. So I understand the arts in that way. And so that's my passion. But in addressing those people, I have found that I have left some people like on the table, so to speak. And they have addressed me saying, hey, what you're doing is really, helping me
Mhm.
from an emotional standpoint. I don't need to necessarily release weight, but I need to release weight in other ways. So that's where that came from.
Oh, I love that. I love that. So they don't necessarily need to release the physical weight, you mean? But
Yes.
the weight of stress, etc.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Yeah, because on my own personal journey, just a little bit of history. On my own personal journey, I have released 80 pounds and still counting. And often standing on the stage and being physically overweight was very uncomfortable. A lot of times I just was not comfortable in my own skin. Sometimes pulling and tugging on what I had on because I didn't feel that it fit like I wanted it to, or if it did fit, maybe it fit a little too well. And I was conscious, of what I thought people might be thinking.
Mm.
And so, yeah, with that being said, It's just a passion to reach out to those who are singers and speakers, and because we definitely have a message, we have something to give that is powerful and that is, very connective, as far as bringing people together. But if you're not comfortable, you're not going to express the totality of your gift, whatever that may be.
Yes, yes. I agree so much. So much of what you said. So Angel Marie is watching. She says, "Oh my gosh, welcome light worker."
Well,
Angel
thank
Marie.
you. Thank
Yes.
you.
She is also a healer, an energetic
Wonderful.
healer. So she's here. She says, "You are amazing and beautiful. Thank you for all your service." That's very
Thank
sweet.
you so much. And thank you to Angel. It takes all of us working together,
Yeah,
because so many people need what we have to give.
yeah, 100%. And what really struck me with what you just said, Arlette, was that many times you had to perform on stage and you're tugging at your outfit because you didn't want to be seen or exposed in a certain way because you were not comfortable in your weight, right? In your body. And so many people who live with excess weight, who live with obesity, who live with the stress that they feel like they're wearing on their sleeve and that other people can see, they can hide. They can
Absolutely.
hide. They can become an introvert, not go out with friends, make that decision, right? But
Mhm.
you, the people in your industry, you kind of have to. This is your livelihood. This will more than likely bring about maybe more gigs. This is what you love to do. This is your passion. So the luxury, and I say luxury in air
Yes,
quotes, of hiding is not available to you.
it
And
really is not.
right, especially when you have a message, and especially when you want to give of your voice and your beautiful art, right?
Yes.
So I definitely appreciate what you do. I think it's beautiful. Now,
Thank you.
would you mind telling us what the name of your program is?
The name of my program is The Sound Chamber at No Pressure, Release the Weight. And it is an intuitive way of releasing weight. It's not through the traditional standard of pills and powders and potions. And I'm no aspersions to anyone who has tried any of it because I have myself. But at the same time, I found that that wasn't the kindest way to release weight from my
Mm,
body.
mm. Yeah, yeah. Angel Marie also is saying it does take all of us, and thank you. And oh my gosh, I love you guys' energy. Angel, thank you. She's so sweet.
Thank you.
So yeah, and it's not being the kindest to your body.
Yeah.
And I would love to know when you discovered whole food plant-based and how you found it as an alternative and how you were able to transition into that lifestyle in order to be kinder to your body. Would you be able to tell us how
Oh,
that
well,
transition
I'll
happened?
say it was probably about 12 years ago. Maybe a little longer than that, maybe 13 or 14 years. I first went vegan. And just so people can have an understanding, being vegan is the absence of animal products and, in any form. And so I was absent of meat and dairy and cheese and eggs, all of the things, but I was a junk food vegan. I was
Mhm,
still, eating all of the crunchy snacks, because um, we know that sugar is vegan, chips are vegan, Oreos are vegan. So I was vegan, but not healthy. And so
mm,
I went through that for several years until I decided to go plant based. And then basically, what I found the difference is the the absence of the animal products is still what I am, but it is the intentional presence of eating the greens, eating the medicine, because the greens are the medicine, the fruits and vegetables and everything, that is the medicine. And so I started that way. And even when I went vegan and I was still doing junk food, I I also, um, how can I say it? I also lost, I did release weight,
Mhm.
but I didn't get to where I was looking to go. I didn't get
Oh,
to my goal. So
okay.
that made me seek to do some tweaks
Mhm.
and, just get some other things together. And so uh, when I decided to go into a plant based lifestyle, it was because I went into a program to obtain certification because I felt like I had everything else, but I didn't have the the nutritional portion of it to
Mm.
a point where it was beneficial to where I was wanting to go.
I love that part, that nutritional portion of it, because the plain vegan diet doesn't
Yeah,
necessarily incorporate the nutrition that your body might need in order to thrive. And so
absolutely.
when you did the whole food plant based, which is eating the whole foods, that's where you got your nutrition. And you felt like you had to go and seek out a course in order to get that nutrition. Angel asks, she says most people just want to eat what they want to eat. How did you really inspire yourself to take the action to go whole food plant based? How did you inspire yourself?
Well, basically, because when I saw that the being vegan had worked up to a certain point, and when I began to examine what I was eating, I, I began to understand and just doing some personal research before I got into the program, understanding that, okay, these things are not beneficial to me. And also having a history within my family of high blood pressure and diabetes and congestive heart failure and kidney disease. I had it all wrapped up within not my extended family, but my immediate family.
Mm.
And having those things right there in front of me inspired me to do something that my family had not seen before and that I felt like was a path that would take me, first of all, on my own personal healing journey. And then as I healed, could bring along my family. So that is what inspired me. I feel like my mom, her life was extended as a result of the lifestyle that I was living at that time, even being junk food vegan. When I would fix stuff for her, I began to remove different things from her diet. As far as salt is concerned, as far as oil is concerned, we stopped deep frying things and started, roasting. And so I began to start with my mom. My dad had already passed, and
Okay.
he passed of a massive coronary. That is an instant death. He was 54. Yeah,
A
yeah,
baby.
he was 54, and in the casket, barely had any gray strands. And
Oh my,
I watched people come by and talk about what a handsome man he was, and he was, but he was gone.
but he was
He was
gone.
gone. And I didn't want that, not only for myself, but even though my mom had different diseases going on in her body as well, I felt like while she was here, I could do what I could to help her. And
Yes.
so helping her meant that I had to help myself. And
Mm.
so I was always searching for more ways to help myself because I knew I wanted to live a long time. I knew I wanted to be an example to my family.
Mm.
And so, yeah, that's what inspired me.
That's beautiful. That's so beautiful, and even more so that you got a chance to help your mom. Like I
Yeah.
wish I had discovered whole food plant based before I lost my mom. And I
Mm,
think that's a lot of people's story. You
yeah.
know, so thank you for that, and I'm so sorry for your loss. And
Thank you. Thank you so
yeah,
much.
and that's the saddest part about it, right? Knowing that,
Yeah.
wow, if only I'd known, or if only we'd known. But we
Yeah.
really don't know, Arlette. So
Yeah.
many people are walking around, they don't know.
They really
And
don't.
and you're not, I mean, you have a certificate. This is your life's work now, but you don't have you're not a doctor. And so people are not going to listen the same. They're going to be like, "Oh, that's nice. Oh, I want to do better too." Okay, well, good luck with what you're doing, right?
Right. Right. All of the things.
So Angel Marie has another question. She says she realized that she could not do without more protein. What is the one thing that you use for protein?
She said she realized that
She needed more protein in her diet. So what's the one thing that you do for protein? And I definitely have an answer too, but I would she's asking you, so I would
oh,
definitely.
okay. But
Uh-huh.
well, you know what? Honestly, when I began to find out that, the animals, they're they're eating protein secondhand because they're eating the grass, and there's protein in almost everything that you eat.
Yeah.
Like whether you're having quinoa or the leafy greens, there's protein and everything that you need in the food of nature. I know that that's not what we've been taught. I know that that's not the popular thing, but there's so much protein in all of the things that we eat.
I'm gonna piggyback on that and say 100%. There is, and it was only recently that I learned that everything that comes out of the ground has protein. Now, the level of protein it has
Yeah.
differs, right?
Hmm.
Broccoli surprisingly is high in protein.
Yes. Yeah.
And then we have, of course, our beans and our legumes that also are very, very high in protein. We have soy products, if people can stand soy products, which is the tofu, the tempeh, the edamame, the soybeans.
Yes.
Those are super, super high in protein, and those are my preferred choice of proteins. But there's so many foods out there that have like Brussels sprouts are
Oh,
interesting,
yes.
high in protein, and of course our nuts. Peanuts are not really a
Mhm.
nut. Peanuts are a seed, but we're talking walnuts. We're talking the pistachios. Those
Yeah.
are very
Yeah.
healthy nuts. Almonds, very
Hmm.
high in protein. So you have a mix of all of those during the course of your day, during the course of maybe a week or two, more than likely the average person has more than enough protein to sustain their lives. Some people
Absolutely.
require more for whatever reason, and so again, as a whole food plant-based um, athlete such as myself, I am not deprived in protein, not even a little bit. In fact, it's fun trying to source my proteins because I'm like, oh, people think that we can't get protein, and I definitely get it.
Can't get protein and can't get muscles, huh?
That's right. And but for the athletes, they might have to really be a little bit more intentional in their source of protein. So Angel Marie, that's our answer for you. Right now, she says she's doing chicken for protein, and we're not here to tell anybody that we disagree with their lifestyle or
Right.
whether or not, yeah, it's our preferred method of healing. She says, sorry for your loss, honey, yet it inspired you and your health and the diabetes in the family to be inspired to take action for yourself. Beautiful. So, yeah.
Absolutely.
So, back to no pressure, release the weight, Arlette. I know that there's a play on the word no pressure. When I first saw the title of your program and of your brand, I thought it was like, there's no pressure here. We're just gonna help you release the weight. But there's actually a different meaning to no pressure, release the weight, which I think is brilliant. So would you mind explaining that?
Well, let me just say this. In the beginning, when I first got my program name,
Mhm.
I was also working with individuals who had hypertension or high blood pressure. And so that's where the no pressure part came in. But my specialty was helping those who were, well, now I say carrying excess weight. At that time, I was saying those who were obese, because if you carry a certain amount of weight, it doesn't matter if it's 5 pounds. You can tap over into the range of obesity, which that's the range you don't want to get into. It's a danger zone. And so that's where it started. But I decided to keep no pressure release the weight because of my own personal experience that I was having which was learning how to be gentle and learning how to be more intuitive as it relates to releasing excess weight.
Yeah, you know what? I want to talk about that for a second. I love that you
Mhm.
said intuitive, and there's a lot to be said for. I'm trying to multitask, and multitask has never been. They say women can multitask. Not hit send. I'm trying to do a couple of things at the same time. Um, so many people think that it's calories in, calories out. People think eat less, exercise more, or go on some kind of a diet. Nobody ever really talks about how do you feel when you eat that food? Like literally, how do you feel? How did that burger make you feel? How did whatever that salad that you just had from Wendy's and you put all that dressing on it, when you walked away, how did it make you feel? Did it make you feel full? Did it satiated? Did it make you feel nauseous? Did it give you a tummy ache? Did it keep you up that night? Did it give you heartburn? And did you get foggy because you just ate that? Like how do you feel? And I feel like there's such a disconnect with how we feel, like how food makes us feel and how different things makes us feel. Like our body is always trying to connect to us. Our body's always trying to communicate with us,
Yeah.
and we forgot how to listen. So what you just said, that intuitive aspect of losing weight, is it really is so important. You want to talk about that a little bit more and
Yeah,
how.
well, first of all, what I have found is that it is intentional in the world that we live in to disconnect us, not only from ourselves, but also from those we love. So we have all of the things, we have all of the electronics, we have all of the movies and all of the things that keep us distracted. And so as it relates to that intuitive portion of eating, when it comes down to it, we've been disconnected from our own intuition, from our own inner voice that says that's enough, from our own inner voice that says you really don't need another bite, from our own inner voice that says I know that your mom taught you to eat everything on your plate, but you don't have to do that anymore. Because really, those type of statements that we some of us had growing up, like, you're not getting up from the table until you eat everything on your plate. I mean, our parents only did what they knew to do. But in the process of it, we became a slave to our appetites, and appetites that were not originally our own, but appetites that were given to us by the instructions that we had to obey. Yeah. And so I think that that intuitive portion is always speaking to us. And sometimes it's a little louder than others. But it's like the more that you give in to your intuition, the louder that voice will become. But the
Mm,
more that you smother it down with continuing to do the things, continuing to eat way beyond your full level, you know
mhm,
and one of the things that I was just talking to my husband about, I was saying, even coming into the fitness world and coming into this place of plant-based living, I'm still tweaking things for myself, because I know that my body doesn't need as much as I've even been taught that it needed. When I
mhm,
first came into the fitness world and was working out and lifting weights and everything, and I was told, oh, you need to eat, five, six small meals a day, and you need to have, this much protein and this and the other. Well, now listening to my body, and I'm having better results with this. I consider it a gentle treatment. I'm having better results and able to release weight a little easier, is through
mm,
listening to, what's being said, and then overriding the not only the things that I've been told within my family lineage, but the genetics. So it's
Mm,
the epigenetics. So the epi means means above. So we can rise above whatever our genetics is, whether even if it's negative, we have within us to rise above the gene. But it does take discipline.
it does.
So yeah.
So somebody's listening, somebody's thinking, "Oh, that's lovely. You discipline, but how do I do that? I've never done it in my life. How do I do that? Like, what would be one tip that you would give somebody? Something easy for them to start using that discipline, that intuitive, listening to that intuitive voice, listening to that inner voice.
Well, the first thing that I would say is be quiet. Be quiet. Get to the point where you're taking your phone and you're giving yourself the gift of silence so that you can really hear inside what your body is saying. Because if we're doing just like you just said, people talk about women can multitask and all of these things. If when we're multitasking, that is intentionally meant to distract us from what we really should be doing. And so to be mindful of our bodies and well, I like to say to show love toward our bodies. It's listening. When you love someone, and they're trying to talk to you, you're not overriding everything that they're saying. You're being quiet and you're listening. You deserve that just as well as the person that you're talking to. You deserve to be listened to by you. And
Ooh,
so when you get quiet, when you turn off all of the things, when you set aside a time that is for you, and prioritize yourself, you will begin to hear differently. You will begin to feel differently, and you'll be able to say, "Okay, yeah, that was good back then, but that's no longer, what I need to eat." I mean, every time I eat that, I find myself bloated. I find myself gassy. I find myself with a tummy ache, all of the things, but yet we continue to do it. Why? Because we've been conditioned
yeah,
and we've been programmed to do
yeah.
that.
Yeah, and we've been programmed to believe that that's normal. That's why there's Pepto-Bismol. That's why there's all these things in the pharmacy to kind of
Hmm.
combat these things. Our body's telling us, no, that does not make me comfortable. And all we're doing is saying, be quiet. I have
Yeah.
something to give you so that we can just
Exactly.
kind of like bypass all of that. Um, so when you work with your clients, I'm going to assume based on everything that you said that of course singing is part of it, meditation is part of it, journaling is probably part of it. I want
It
you to
is.
tell us different types of modalities that you use in order for people to release the weight in your sound chamber.
Okay, so one of the things that I found within my own personal sound chamber, because I am gifted from a musical standpoint, I begin to, and I'm also a writer, so I write a lot of songs, and I write. And in my own quiet time, which is what I was just speaking of, I began to write, and I would sing, and I noticed that at different notes, I'll say, that I would sing, I noticed how it made me feel different. What I mean by that is there's certain notes that I would sing and that I could hit that made me feel lighter,
Mm,
that made me feel a sense of freedom,
mm,
that made me feel a sense of enlightenment. So I began to research sound because I know it's not just about a song, it's not just about a melody, it's not just about any of that.
right.
And in researching sound, I found out that sound, the frequencies that you use in sound, has the ability to help to release certain things. And weight is one of them. you can get to certain frequencies, and I do sound baths, and I use certain instruments in my sound baths, and I use certain prompts when I'm speaking to the people that are within my sound baths to help them to tap into what is the root of the unhealthy relationship that you have with food, because that's what happened for me.
Yeah,
um,
yeah.
in my time, when I tapped into a certain frequency with my sound bowl, I noticed that when that time was over and I began to journal, I started journaling about things that happened when I was a kid
Mm,
that caused me to continue an unhealthy relationship with food. So what is that? That's enlightened. I was enlightened through the sound frequency to tap into the root of the issue that I had with food. So, guess what? Without really even trying, I
mhm,
began to release excess weight. And so I was like, okay, this is a key, this is a thing. And when I started looking it up, you can look it up and find that there's scientific, things that are beginning to prove that sound frequency does so much. It does so much healing in so many different ways with anxiety and depression. And so when I say release excess weight, yes, it's physical, but I am one who has always dealt with the whole person,
mhm,
transformation of the whole person, body, soul, and spirit. And so, in doing that, you're releasing not only physical weight, but you're getting actually to the root of some issues that have caused you some trauma. Because one of the things that I pin in my signature program is that it's not what's on the end of your fork that's causing you to yo yo back and forth, but it really is what's at the beginning of your trauma. So if we
mhm.
can get to the beginning of our trauma, we can get to the root of our issues, and we can heal. Really, we really can. And we deserve it.
We deserve it.
Yeah.
And the different modalities that you teach will enable somebody to get to the beginning of their trauma. What about for those who are kind of like afraid? Like, I know that this is terrible and I don't want to relive that. I don't want to go back there. How do
Mhm.
you how do you really kind of like how do you get them there?
Well, I didn't believe it before, but I do believe it, and I totally embrace it now that my voice is my first instrument of healing. And so when I'm doing a sound bath, um, for instance, like there was one time I was doing a sound bath, and afterwards, as a matter of fact, she's one of the young ladies that made me kind of begin to revisit things, because she said, as you can see, I don't need to release physical weight. She said, but while you were singing and doing the instruments, she said, what I experienced is something that I had not experienced, which is the release of grief. She said, I lost my dad and I lost my brother within 6 months of one another. And her brother was much younger than she. Matter of fact, he wasn't even 30. And so she lost her dad and lost her brother, both unexpectedly, and she had not been able to grieve. And so the sound frequencies of my voice and the instruments that I was tapping into helped her to tap into that area of grief and allow it to be released from her. And so sometimes, it can, be a scary thing, but I have to believe that the way in which I'm gifted, the tone of my voice, the quality of the notes, that I hit and everything are going to be healing. And it doesn't mean that people will be absent of fear, because a lot of times people don't want to go back. But when you get back to that place, it's a gentle approach. So that's going to help you to release fear as well.
Yeah, that sound I love that you said it's a gentle approach because it doesn't seem as scary. It doesn't seem as scary. Wow, okay. Well, I think okay, so a couple of things I want to ask you. I want to ask you um when do you do how do you work with your clients? How do you take them on board? Who is qualified to work with you, in other words? Because you did say it's not always, definitely, it's not always about the physical weight. It could be about the emotional weight.
Yeah.
So how would I know if you're somebody that I need to work with?
Well, in me, explaining what my program is about. People can reach me through Instagram. My website is still being worked on, but people can reach me through Instagram and they can DM me, and we can have a suitability call. And then that way we can see if we are a good fit. But if you're carrying excess weight, whether it is physical or emotional, the modalities that I use within the my signature program is the adaptation of a whole food plant-based lifestyle, and I use meditation, breath work, as well as the sound therapy. Those are the four main things. But when you get on the inside, you mentioned one of the other things that is a passion for me, which is journaling. And that is one of the things that helps us, like in the beginning stage of my signature program, when we're dealing with the mindset and the mindfulness. I get them to write their life right. So write, WRITE, their lives right, RIGHT.
Yeah,
And
there you go.
so yeah, it's a whole thing. And if they are experiencing emotional trauma, I don't claim to be a doctor or physician in that type of way, but at the end of the day, we all are our own physicians. Because
Mm,
when you make a decision to work with anybody, you have become a physician, because now you're recognizing that there's something on the inside. When people are working with you and they have sugar addictions and food addictions, then they're realizing that I'm taking my own health into my own hands. I'm becoming accountable and responsible, for myself. Now, the things that I learned within my lifetime with my parents and elders in my family, those are things that I learned. And are those things my fault? No. But once I come into knowledge that this is not beneficial, then it is my responsibility to do something about it. So you become your own physician when you allow someone else to help to guide you into wholeness.
wow. Ooh, you said so much there. Thank you, everybody who's listening. And Angel Marie, she says, I love sound baths. And oh my gosh, they are the best. It changes the vibrational tone on a
Yeah.
subatomic layer. Thank you, light worker. She goes on to say, it's scientifically proven that it changes the neural nets, neural pathways. And it's very,
Yes.
very powerful. And so that's what you were talking about, that we are able to make that shift
Yes.
because we're healing and it's changing those neural pathways.
It's in
And
our brain.
yeah, and there was a time where I would not have been able to understand any of it. And for those of you listening that still don't understand, it's quite all right. Just
It's
trust
okay.
it's okay. There's so many ways of healing, and it doesn't have to be just one way and another way. We can like take all these and interconnect them and mesh them all together and just make it a beautiful cocktail for
Yes,
our own healing, right?
absolutely.
Yes, thank you. So I wanna ask you to do two things. I want you
Yes.
to answer a question, and I
Okay.
want you to leave us in song, even if it's 30 seconds. But after hearing you talk about your voice for almost 40 minutes, I think people are curious. Well, what's so magical about her voice? I know I
Oh my
am.
God.
So the question for you is, what would you want your client's takeaway or their lived experience to be once they complete the sound chamber at no pressure release the weight with you?
What I would want my clients to take away, because of the fact that I am um, into the transformation of the body, soul, and the spirit, I would want them to take away not just their healing, but their wholeness. And there is a difference, when you, like, I mean, I fell on my bike. I probably was about 9 years old, and I still have the scar from that.
Mhm.
It did heal, but when something becomes whole, that means that the evidence of the thing, of the injury, never existed. It doesn't even show up. And so on the inside, we could experience different traumas, and a lot of times people carry those things because they don't know how to really release them, to the point where, like, sometimes with some of the things that I've been through, when I talk to people and tell them some of my story, they say, I would have never guessed. Well,
Mhm.
that's because I've not just been made, I'm not just healed where you can still see the scar, but I've been made whole. So now I get to tell you what I've experienced, as opposed to you saying, wow, she must have been through something because of her attitude and the way that she's acting. You're thinking people, yeah. So people say to me, you don't look like what you've been through, and so I attribute that to wholeness, because
Beautiful.
it's all come back together. It is complete,
So your main takeaway for your wish is so that they walk away whole.
whole. Yes,
Yeah, so they're
they're
not there's
gonna
no
go through the
no
stages of
broken.
healing in the program, but at the end, I want them to take away wholeness.
Yeah. Is there anything that we didn't touch upon that you feel like is very important for people to know and understand?
Hmm. You were very thorough. So right now, I can't think of anything that we didn't touch on. That,
I think, yeah, we touched on a lot. We touched on the
yeah.
name of your program. We touched on the metaphysical aspect of it. We spoke about the fitness and the food and yeah, and even sound frequency. That's amazing. All right. I think this is a great time for us to listen for a second and be healed for just a few moments with you.
Okay. Well, I'm going to share just a little bit of something that I wrote, and hopefully this will be helpful to our audience that we're serving today, because um, the world that we live in has taught us to rush through everything. I mean, even to rush to and through our
Mhm.
goals. So, for those who are wanting to release excess weight, we want to get it the quickest way that we can. And one of the things of discipline is learning how to wait. And so I wrote this a few months ago, and it just basically talks about waiting. So let's see. I can wait. Oh, I can wait. Oh, I can wait. Oh, I can wait. Oh, I can wait. I'm learning to master myself. I can wait. Discipline is the key. I can wait. Oh, oh, I can wait. Oh, oh, I can wait. I'm learning to master myself. I can wait. Discipline is the key. I can wait. And so it's a very simple song that was encouraging me to not rush, and to encourage me that you're okay. So I want to encourage our audience that wherever you are in your own personal journey, whether it's physical, mental, financial, educational, spiritual, wherever you are in your journey, The art of waiting is not, it's not a bad thing. And it doesn't mean that you're idle. Sometimes people, we've been trained to think that, oh, when we're waiting, we need to be doing something. No,
Yeah.
just wait. Because waiting, you gain discipline. And for me, mastery is my ultimate goal. And so learning to master ourselves in every area, that's the key. So I hope that that song, you know, touched your heart and helped you to embrace that it's okay to be right where you are. You don't have to try to compare yourself or get up on some level. Just keep doing the small work every day and that inner work every day.
Mm. Mm. That was so good, Arlette. That was so good. Thank you so much. I don't even have any words right now. You said it all. You said it all, and you wrapped it up so beautifully, especially with that song. And it so resonates with me because today I felt like my whole day was just a rush to get to another time.
Yeah.
Like, okay, at 2 o'clock this happens, at 3:30 this happens, at 5:30 this happens, at 6:30 this happens. So thank you for that because our whole lives are a rush for something. And it's taught as early as our school days, right? Hurry up and get to school. um, so yeah, I think this is a good place. This is a good place. Thank you again, Arlette, for gracing
Welcome. You're welcome.
my
Thank
channel with
you so much for having me. It was my pleasure, and it is definitely an honor to come onto your stage. Appreciate you.
Thank you, thank you. And Angel Marie, she stuck with us. Girl, you
Oh,
rock.
thank you, Angel Marie.
She said you both did such a wonderful job. And wow, I had a lot of aha moments. Thank you to you both for beautiful. Thank you, you both beautiful ladies, um, light workers. You have to forgive me. Vanity keeps me from wearing these glasses. So, so, so yeah, there was one more thing I wanted to say, but I think that's it. Just thank you for being here. And with that, thank you everybody who will be tuning in to give a listen to
Absolutely.
what Arlette Lanae, aka Beautiful Promise, has
Yes,
to
and on
share.
Instagram, they can find me at No Pressure Release the Weight.
No
Yes,
pressure. That's what I wanted to say. I want to say, where can we find you, Arlette? I appreciate the fact that you threw that in there. No
yes,
pressure. Release the weight on Instagram, and I'm also going to have it in the description so you can click away, find out a little bit more about Arlette, support her, and maybe if something resonated with you, reach out. So
absolutely.
with that, I think that's it.
Thank you so much. Have a great evening.
Have a great evening, everyone. Thank you.